Hey, and welcome back to Runtages. I'm David, and today we're going to take a look at my brand new Hoka Tracer 2s. So there they are. I'm just gonna put the box right there and grab the shoes. There she is. Got these at Hoka for about like 130 bucks. And out of the color selections, I went with the orange. Because the what was it? The other neon yellow one that they had, it wasn't really neon. It was more of like a dullish like yellow with like some green mixed in. So haven't had an orange pair of shoes before, so I figure, why not? But these are the Hoka Tracer 2s, and for the most part, it's very similar to the Hoka Tracer 1, with some key differences. When I unboxed the shoes and I pulled them out, first thing I noticed was the loop on the heel. I actually have my Hoka Tracer 1s, you just grab these, and the backside, that's all it was, nothing special. So what they decided to do for these shoes was, I don't know, put a little loop there. I don't really mind it. I'm not going to be wearing these shoes out with pants on or anything. So, having that there isn't really going to bother me. I'm probably just going to be wearing these with shorts or running tights on, so that shouldn't be a big deal. I guess it could come in handy if I want to, lace something through it and hook it to my bag or something. But that was the first thing I noticed when I pulled them out. Another thing I noticed was the tongue, and I'm really, really happy they did this, because let me first show you the tongue on the Tracer 1. So let me do my best here to get you a good shot. So take a look at how thin that tongue is. It's like paper thin. And what happens is when you put it on, you see what I'm doing here? The tongue, the edge of the tongue, this right down the side, it'll just fold up, and you can actually feel that when you have some thick socks on. So when that folds up, that's gonna really bother your foot, and I don't know, but as a result, I think I've had a couple of aches and pains on the top of my foot from that. And I find myself, every time I put those shoes on now, I slide a finger in there and just try to undo that fold, which does work, but it gets annoying. So they did away with that tongue by having more of a normal tongue. So this, it's like double stitched fabric. It's pretty thick too. So I actually wore these for a 4-mile treadmill run this morning, and when I slipped them on, I had no problems with the tongue. They didn't fold up at all. They didn't crunch up in one spot or anything. I didn't really have to do much to adjust them. So that's a win for the Tracer 2s. I'm really happy about that. The lacing system, the laces are pretty much the same. You know, they're really lightweight. They're flat. They kind of twist up when you lace your shoes. I tried my best to just keep everything straight, but you know, if you're constantly loosening your laces and tightening them, they're gonna start like twisting when you do that. So, and that happened on the Tracer ones too. One good thing about the Tracer too, and I can unlace the shoe and measure them, but when I put them on this morning, laced up exactly the same way as my Tracer ones, it had to have been like an extra inch on each side. So on the Tracer ones, when I had them tied, just one knot, it would be just very little room to get that knot in. But with these, I have no problem, and then some. It's almost as if I've had like a little too much lace. But during my run today on the treadmill, it wasn't a problem. I didn't notice it at all. I didn't notice any bouncing around on my laces. So, you know, that it didn't affect anything. But I do like that they're longer. I don't have to, you know, maybe compensate for a little bit of space here, make it a little bit tighter there just to have some extra slack up top. I don't have to do any of that crap. So I'm pretty happy about that. I can make it as loose as I want down here and still have plenty of lace up here. Because what's been happening, and I don't know if it's due to my stride, but the top of my foot has been getting a little sore. You know, part of it is because of the problem with the tongue on the first Tracers, but another part was I think it was just a little tight here on the Tracer 2s. So when I had these on, one, I had the extra lacing, so I actually made it a little bit looser here and then tightened it up top, and that wasn't a problem when I ran. But another thing is, I think the shoe overall is just feels like a bigger shoe. I'll try to put these side by side. There it is from the front. Can't really tell anything, but let me see if this makes the difference. I think it's a bigger shoe. Although both are size 10 and a half. And here's another thing. When I wore these this morning, you know, they were light, sure, but not quite as light as the Tracer 2s. And, you know, I'm looking at the shoe. I don't know if it's because it's orange and maybe, you know, it gives off an illusion that it's a bigger shoe, but I instantly thought it was a bigger shoe when I picked it up. When I put it on, it felt, you know, maybe a quarter size a little too big. So yeah, I suspect it is a bigger shoe. I don't know, maybe there were other complaints that the Tracer one was a little too snug fit, but I'm actually glad that, you know, they made it a little bit bigger. So my run this morning was extremely comfortable. It didn't feel like there was any pressure points on the top of my foot like there usually is. Yes, and it would get bad on the Tracer ones on the top of my foot, like at the beginning of a run. And you know, like my feet are kind of stiff to begin with, you know, until I warm up. So like, you know, the first like mile or so, yeah, it can hurt. You know, like one time it was like kind of just behind the top of my big toe. Another time, it was kind of like the very top of my foot, right where my foot connects to my shin. Kind of around that area, right where, like, you know, the top laces would get tied. You know, I did everything I could to loosen up the shoe, but it didn't relieve the pressure. And I know, like, just from research that, like, pain on the top of your foot usually is an indicator that your shoes are tied too tight. But another problem was the laces were too short on the Tracer ones. So there wasn't a whole lot that I could do to loosen up the shoe, just because if I loosen it like here, I wouldn't have enough to tie a full knot up here. So I don't know how many other people had that problem, but I definitely had that problem. But with the Tracer 2s, that problem's gone. So that problem's gone. There's no pain up here on the forefoot area, on the top of my foot. There wasn't any pain up here, and I wasn't tying it super loose. I tied it to what I felt was comfortable, and yeah, there's no pain up there either. So pretty happy with that. Overall, on the inside, it's gonna be your neutral shoe. There's barely any arch support, and heel support is just enough for when you start to get tired. Otherwise, you're always landing here, and it's tough for me to say how flexible a shoe this is, because it was only a 4-mile run today on the treadmill. The day before, I did 11 miles on the treadmill with my Tracer 2s, and those are just soft like butter. But these, I think it'll probably take like a day or so. I'm scheduled for a 10-miler, and I'll probably wear these tomorrow. And if there's a big thing to note, I'll add to this video. But there it is, the Hoka One One Tracer 2s in orange. I actually don't know if that's their official color name, but it's orange to me. Yeah, and like the tread hasn't changed a whole lot. It actually looks almost identical to the tread from the Tracer one. Actually, it is identical. I don't notice any difference. There you go. So I'm actually excited to showcase this shoe a little bit more. I'm actually pretty excited to take these on a 10-miler tomorrow, and hoping for good weather. With the Tracer ones, I did a ton of long runs, and some in like some slush, whatever was passable. But like I would take the Tracer ones out, and yeah, they're a great shoe. So good on the road. Not too bad on wet pavement. I never ran with them on the trails or when there was like snow or ice out, but once in a while I would come on like a little icy patch, and they were okay, not too bad. So I mean, I imagine these will be exactly the same. One thing I did want to note on the Tracer ones, I know this is the spotlight is on the Tracer 2s, but it's worth noting on the Tracer ones. Very early on, my pinky toe kind of busted out of there. Yeah, see, my pinky toe busted out of there. I think that happens on all of my shoes, but not that early. I think at the time it happened, it was probably only like 400 or 500 miles. I actually ran these to about 700 miles, and that's a lot. Time-wise, I think I've had these shoes for about the same as I normally do with my other shoes, but distance-wise, because my mileage went up this year, I think I ended up just running on these for a lot longer. And I was also lazy buying new shoes. I just didn't really have time to go out and look for a replacement for the Tracer. Just didn't have time. But let's see, so that happened, and let's see, not on this shoe, but on my other one, let's see, this little thing started peeling off. And I'm not even sure how that happened. I mean, I put these in my gym bag. I'm not really kicking around dirt or anything. Like I said, I don't run on trails with them or in the snow or anything. So I'm not really sure how that happened, but just normal wear and tear. You know, I'm sweating buckets on the treadmill, getting the shoes soaked. So, you know, enough salt will just destroy anything. Just look at what it does to cars. So there you have it, the Hoka One One Tracer 2s. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the roads and happy running. Peace.